Hello, everybody. We've got a show that promises to be mildly interesting for your listening and watching enjoyment. First, I review Happy Gilmore 2. It is not up to par. After that, I talk with Chad Burton of Modern Law Practice. I'm on my intake systems bullshit again, but we also have a surprising conversation about ABS. Last but not least, I quiz Chad on celebrity aliases. For example, did you know that frequent Adam Sandler collaborator Kevin James' real last name is Nipfling? It's true. Now, 4. People have always said I look like Adam Sandler. See, now you can't unsee it. And just to be clear, I didn't even think that was a compliment in the mid-90s when Sandler was on fire. Now, it's even worse. So I look like a frumpy, middle-aged white man who rarely shaves and wears gym clothes all the time? Well, actually, that's kind of spot on, honestly. Now, if you don't believe me, just know that when I was in law school, walking to the subway one night, this drunk girl came up to me and said, "Oh my God, it's Adam Sandler." Then she whipped out a boob, just one, the right one, I think, and said, "Sign it." Randomly, she had a pen also. Now, because I'm a gentleman, I told her that I was not, in fact, Adam Sandler. Then she screamed at me, "You celebrities are all alike. Assholes." Can't win for losing, I guess. Not sure how to segue from that exactly, but fast forward to 2025. Happy Gilmore 2 is a direct-to-Netflix release. It's a sequel to Sandler's popular 1996 comedy Happy Gilmore, in which a former hockey player becomes a pro golfer specializing in long drives. The original Happy Gilmore, though it's not his best movie, more on that shortly, is generally pretty great. It's objectively hilarious at points, like when he beats up Bob Barker and suggests that the price is wrong, bitch. Happy Gilmore 2, however, is, well, not that you want to see this movie, but spoiler alert. Spoilers to follow, although you could probably guess what's going to happen within 5 minutes. Now, I want to call Happy Gilmore 2 dog shit, but it feels like that's insulting to dog shit. Miraculously, this movie has a 64% Rotten Tomatoes score, which is frankly an affront. This movie is a crime against humanity. It is terrible on every conceivable level. It's insanely lazy. They literally play clips from the original movie as callbacks, like a bunch of times. Every character is somebody's son. None of the new jokes land, like none. I don't think I laughed once during this entire film, and it misunderstands its own characters. Happy Gilmore the movie works because Happy Gilmore the character is a man-child who succeeds against the odds. Happy Gilmore the movie works because Happy Gilmore the character is an iconoclast, upending the staid old game of golf. That's why the first film works. This version of the Happy Gilmore character is just a depressed alcoholic. That's literally all he is, who languishes the entire film. I don't think Adam Sandler says one funny thing in this entire movie. But this time, the movie introduces an upstart version of the Live Tour competing against the PGA, and Happy Gilmore is on the side of the PGA. There are other really wild narrative choices as well. Here's where the spoiler alert part comes in. He kills his wife in the first 5 minutes of the movie with an errant drive off of the tee, which elicited an audible "what the fuck" from my daughter, who is 10 and definitely understands storyboarding better than the entire Happy Gilmore 2 team. I don't necessarily have high standards for legacy sequels like these, which are made decades after the original movie. But like Beetlejuice was okay. This is just horrendous. Total slop. Honestly, I don't even want to talk about it anymore, and I wish I never saw it. I'll never be able to get that time back. The plot is so tossed off, I don't want to run it down, honestly. If you want to read about it, just read the Wikipedia page, seriously. So instead, I will perform a dramatic reading of parts of a beautiful critique of the film from Daily Beast author Nick Shager, which is poetry. He writes, "Arguably the least inspired film in the actor's canon, if not all of movie history." Sick burn, by the way. Director Kyle Newacek's follow-up is a cinematic abomination, devoid of imagination, skill, or purpose, floundering about for a criminally long 114 minutes. Yeah, it's insanely long, in search of a single laugh. Seriously, what a fucking lead. Inverted pyramid structure at its finest. He summarizes, with all due respect to Grown Ups 2, The Ridiculous Six, and Sandy Wexler, Happy Gilmore 2 is the bottom of the Sandler barrel, a grim disaster that not only sullies the good name of its ancestor, but so badly flails on its own limited terms that it suggests the A-lister should concentrate on dramatic parts and leave the immature comedy to others. Well, there you have it. Couldn't agree more. Now you might be thinking to yourself, damn, what a hater this guy is. Yeah, I kind of am a hater. Have you listened to the show before? But there are Adam Sandler movies I really like. And I should say, I'm cool with Adam Sandler taking his bags of Netflix cash and making shitty movies with his friends and families in tropical locales. If that's what he wants to do, I mean, good for him. I would do the same thing. I just don't have to like those movies. By the way, my son randomly, passionately defending Grown Ups when we had this discussion, I did not have on my bingo card. That all being said, here are some of the Adam Sandler movies I love. Let me rank them for you. Number 1, the top of the heap in the Sandler canon, Billy Madison. This was his first big hit movie and is decidedly a cult classic. This, to me, is the apex of the Sandler man-child character. Seriously, he hits it out of the park in his first time up at bat. The perfect conceit for the Sandler character is an adult who has to finish elementary school. This film has everything you could want. It explores the existential question of whether shampoo or conditioner is better. It struggles with questions of karmic retribution in its portrayal of the O'Doyle family. And there is an academic decathlon, for God's sake. This movie has an unbelievable cast, too. Chris Farley as the unhinged bus driver. Darren McGavin, underrated character actor, as Sandler's dad. Norm Macdonald. Veronica Vaughn, actress Bridget Wilson, Pete Sampras' wife. Brad Whitford. Steve Buscemi. I can still quote random shit from this movie from memory. Just in case you're interested, Billy Madison has a 40% Rotten Tomatoes score. And that's basically everything that's wrong with society. There is, of course, a lesson in all this. If your dog gets lost, you don't look for an hour and then call it quits. You get your ass out there and you find that fucking dog. 2, 50 First Dates. This is the finest of the frequent Sandler-Drew Barrymore pairing. It's a movie that takes place in Hawaii, so it's automatically awesome. But while this movie is definitely funny, it's actually emotionally engaging and even bittersweet, which, let's just say, is not a Sandler trademark. The plot involves a woman with recurring amnesia with whom Sandler's character falls in love, and he needs to remind her of who she is and about their relationship every day when she wakes up. It's really brilliant plotting, actually. I love Billy Madison, but it's still a dumb comedy. This is probably the best actual movie that Adam Sandler has done. Highly rewatchable. Lots of Beach Boys songs. Weird Sean Astin performance. Check it out. All right, number 3. Grandma's Boy. This was a Sandler production, but he did not appear in it as an actor. He's got this production company called Happy Madison. Get it? Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. The lead of this movie is another Sandler collaborator, though a lesser-known one, Alan Covert. You've got an early Jonah Hill performance here. Linda Cardellini is the love interest. Basically, Alex, the main character, is a video game designer who's evicted from his apartment and has to live with his grandmother, hence the title, and her 2 other elderly friends that she also lives with. Hilarity ensues as the grannies play video games and go to wild parties. One of Alex's friends hooks up with one of the grandmother's friends. Of course, that's probably inevitable. There's a lion. There's a monkey who knows kung fu. I mean, what the fuck more do you want? I ask you, are you not entertained? The best character in the movie, though, is JP, the video game designing prodigy who tries to steal Alex's game. He is the biggest douchebag ever, and they just shit on him the entire film. This movie has a 15% Rotten Tomatoes score. Seriously, what are we doing, people? Number 4, The Wedding Singer. This is another Drew Barrymore team-up, which is excellent, but not as good as 50 First Dates, which is why I have it here. Sandler's Robbie character, the titular wedding singer, tries to stop Barrymore's Julia from marrying a man with the last name Gulia, thereby obviously destroying her life and becoming Julia Gulia, which they reference several times in the movie. Amazing 80s tracks in this one. A memorable cameo from Billy Idol. More Alan Covert as Sandler's best friend. Much better plotting than your standard Sandler film as well. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. Number 5, Happy Gilmore. The original Happy Gilmore from 96 is excellent. I'm just not as high on it as most other people, but I will say that this movie is roughly 1 trillion times better than the sequel. Shout out to Christopher McDonald, who plays the bad guy, Shooter McGavin, who is maybe the best thing to come out of Happy Gilmore, honestly. He's also the best part of the wretched Happy Gilmore 2. And Happy Gilmore, the original movie, doesn't really work without him. He's just totally manic and insane in these movies. Kevin Nealon, also doing some tremendous work in almost all of his cameos in Sandler movies. Here he's clearly doing the bull dance, feeling the flow, working it. Honorable mentions, I have some. Big Daddy's pretty good, although not great. Also, I think that one's a little overrated. Uncut Gems, also. Not that big a fan of Uncut Gems. Also a little overrated, in my opinion. Though I obviously love a KG cameo when I can get him. Rob Hardigan told me to watch That's My Boy with Andy Samberg, so I will do that and report back. Can't believe I haven't seen that one, actually. You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, I really like. That's a recent Netflix movie that stars a lot of his family members, but it's fun and pretty earnest. Plus, it's like no movies at all about bat mitzvahs, which is the girl version of a bar mitzvah for the uninitiated, so this is kind of a public service in its own right. Hustle is solid, the basketball movie. Hubie Halloween, filmed across the street from my house, but is otherwise nondescript. And who can forget Sandler's turn as Satan in Norm Macdonald's Dirty Work, perhaps the greatest comedy ever made. They should just call the next one Unhappy Gilmore, because that's what I'll be. Next, we talk with Chad Burton of Modern Law Practice about his cameo in Happy Gilmore 2. Now we're just doing practice management stuff. So let's get to that right now, because on this show, we don't leave any of our Chads hanging. Well, I've effectively run out of things to say, which is awkward because this is a podcast where we're only a third of the way through. So I'm just going to shave my back. Honestly, it might take a little while, so please be patient if you can. No, that sounds fucking awful, and I'm just messing with you. We're going to interview our guest instead. My guest today, I'm very excited. It's my old friend, Chadwick Burton, the co-founder of Modern Law Practice and the CEO of Curo Legal. Hoorah. Chad, welcome to the show. So I have to say, I don't know. I feel like a dick now, but I didn't know Curo Legal was a thing anymore. And we've known each other since lawyers started talking about the cloud. So round about 2023. So can you just catch me up to speed on what have you been up to? What are you doing now? And for the audience, if there's 2 or 3 people in the world who don't know who you are.
Curo actually isn't a thing anymore.
Okay,
so
good. Glad we cleared that up.
Scratch that. So, right. There was a few lingering projects, but most my efforts are with Modern Law Practice, working with law firms, both from a consulting and tech perspective. We've developed a operation system. We call it Law Firm OS. So it's a full-on platform to run your law firm off of, focused more on the aspects of milestones, goal tracking, and how that data ties in with intake and running your working with your clients. So doing that, as well as we do outsource intake as well.
So a little bit of an outgrowth from, because when you used to do the Curo thing, you were doing technology management, consulting, and development for law firms. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, that was more the consulting piece. Yeah. So this is, I think, when I first started doing the working with law firms and doing the aspect of consulting, it was tech heavy. And then, it still is, but it's led with the management side of the firm. Like, how are you running this? How are you dealing with the people part? And how does tech support that? So that's like that was a shift, as opposed to being like, all right, you have problems, let's go solve it with tech. Well, first let's look at what are the aspects of like your systems and processes, your human issues that are there. As you're evaluating where you need humans and where you don't, it's become a lot like more interesting to figure out kind of where tech fits in. And I don't like systematizing away people's jobs, but it is, kind of enjoyable at the same time when you're like, look, a firm has like 3, 4 too many people and you get it down to like one, they'll be fine. There'll be other jobs out there. But like for this particular firm that we're focused on, like that's that's interesting that you can do that, which also shows like, firms are paying too much money for humans. And, the aspect of leveraging tech on is not bad.
Yeah. Is it the case that people are being pushed out by AI? I mean, that's a harsh term, but I guess that's kind of what's happening. Are they getting upskilled? Are they moving to less efficient law firms? Like what in your experience, like what's happening to people if they sort of are like, oh shit, my job can be done by AI. What now?
I don't even think it's necessarily AI. I mean, to answer your question, Ish.
Or efficiencies in general, I guess.
I would go more that route. Like that's where like,
okay.
I think the AI piece ties into that, but I think it's the efficiencies in general where like, people fuck around with like spreadsheets for hours and like, or like, they'll use, Clio Manage that has, this, great billing system and all these bells and whistles on it, but they don't use them. And so they'll have billing people that spend like a week processing invoices each month that, they're like, I'm out of commission for the next week, when they could have pushed like 3 buttons and been there. Or if the lawyers and paralegals entering the time hadn't done a shitty job up front and like everything would be in there when it's time to process it. Like, so these are more like, then that person doesn't have to go back and spend all that time. So it's I think it's efficiencies and better processes first. And I think the AI piece is tied in. I mean, I haven't spent enough time with it, but I started with like Chat GPT's like AI agent thing that they released last.
Yeah.
And, like it's supposed to be like doing things for you now, just not answering your questions. Okay, that sounds fun. Like that's like you can log into stuff and it will do it, and that's and it, from what I've like the bit of research, it seems like it's real basic, but that's fun. I mean, that's instead of
agents are going to be rough for people. Yeah,
right. That's going to be rough for people. Right. Instead of like the idea of having, you get done, with a client and, you tell your agent to go update the matter or update your system on it. And you push the little voice button and then it just goes out and does it. Like that's magical. And it's,
yes.
Like, that's one of the things like with our platform that I try to figure out like how AI could like. There's this interesting idea, I think, of all these bells and whistles and platforms, but how soon are we? If you have all the data stored somewhere, then you put a little agent on top of it. Is it going to do the same work and give you the same like spit out the same kind of like? That's going to change everybody's platforms over time, and it's not that far away.
Okay, let me ask you this. Can we stay on the people thing for a second here? Because I think the messaging, like if I'm running a law firm, and I'm like, I think your advice is spot on, by the way, and I tell people this too, like get personally efficient, make the law firm efficient, add the right tech, and then start looking at AI. I think the message I'm delivering, if I own that law firm, is, hey everybody, it's cool. We're going to start to use AI, but we're going to upskill you, and then you'll have a whole new job.
Right.
I feel like in a lot of cases, that's probably a fairy tale, And I think some of that is like, Brenda, you're fucking done here. It's what is actually going to happen. Like, do you have thoughts on that? I don't know that everybody's going to be able to get upskilled past the point of being more effective than the AI, is what I'm saying.
Probably. I think we'll see a little bit of both. Like, I've seen some team members who are told by their firm, like, don't ever send another email because you sound dumb until you run it through ChatGPT. Or like,
Yeah,
things like that, where like, and those folks go out and learn what they need to learn and do that. And, I've been in these team meetings where like you'll hear somebody like say, well, I ran this through ChatGPT. And every time I hear that, it kind of warms my heart, because they're not pretending like it's theirs. But they're also indicating, look, you told us to use this stuff. Like, I'm using it and here's what it's telling me. So I think, it'll be I think it's like any human. Some people are lazy as shit, and you're going to try to help upskill them and make them better, and they're just not going to do it.
Right.
And that's human behavior there. And if it's somebody that cares about their job, wants to be better at it, they'll go do it. And so I think that underlying human component will still be there, depending upon whether the person is driven or not to go along with that ride.
Okay, I want to talk to you about, you've got a new newsletter that's come out. I know this because it's delivered to my inbox on a recurring basis, and it's called the Tech Infused Leader. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, are we talking like brain implants, or are we not quite there yet?
Well, it's going to evolve over time, and I hope so. Yes. Hopefully.
Wait, you're hoping yes for brain implants?
No. Yeah, why not? Yeah. No,
I'm fucking out on brain implants, but go ahead.
Well, the newsletter concept comes from, it's not at that point, but it's more about kind of thinking about your team and the role that tech plays. And tech infused meaning, like, because I'm of the camp. Well, I just said something about implanting things, but like when we're talking about AI, like, I'm always going to experiment with things early on and try them out, but not everybody's like that, and not everybody adopts things. Like what we're talking about earlier, like a few minutes ago, about people that will upskill because they're doing, they'll use the AI tools that they weren't before. Like, there's this like sliding scale of how folks work with tech and how they evolve as team members. And so the idea behind it is that the more you understand your people and how they are going to leverage tech and how to encourage them at the right level, that's where and everybody's a leader within a firm in their own way. So, this isn't about like law firm owners, but it's also about the rest of your team and how they're going to embrace tech. And we put together these 5 personas on, like, there's like the explorer, that front person that's going to be way out there, like, like me, like early adopter type people. You've got like these cautious guardians of people, like, this is going to ruin everything. And I know you're pretending like you want to be in a cave, but you're not that guy. But there's folks out there that like, and they're right.
Not yet.
You want those people on your team. They may drive you insane, but you want them there because they're going to help put you in check. There's also the people that are like, data driven, or they think they are, where they're like, we can't make any decisions without the data. And then they spend, months looking at stuff and they don't even really know what they're supposed to look at. So, and then they're like, well, now I feel comfortable.
Right.
And like,
we can't make any decisions, period.
Right. Exactly. Because there's, the data's not there yet. So the idea being that one is helping people along a journey of like leveraging tech in their roles in their world to be better leaders within the firm. And also for those who are doing things like implementing tech projects, like, know your people. And so as we do this, like as we go in and we work with the firm, we have them, do the assessment to understand personas of everybody, so that if we know, I think you're mean about a Brenda earlier. So if we know that Brenda, hates everything about what's about to happen, we know how to, help the team properly handhold them. And if somebody's getting stuck on something, like they're just not quite sure, they're not buying into it. Well, why is that? Um, and this mixes well with other concepts. Like we're big fans of like Enneagrams. And, have you ever done your Enneagram number, figured that out?
No. But can you tell people what it is for those who are?
It's a personality
we'll
test that gives you a number, 1 through 9.
Yeah.
You should do it. I'll send you a code. Figure out your like.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
It's you've got like there's folks that, well, I'm an 8, which is called a challenger, which is basically like a jerk, I guess, and like pushes people and like
What is 9, asshole? Can I get 9?
9 is what is 9? 9 is the peacemaker. So no, they don't go and like it's not like a scale. It's not like a sliding scale of 1 to 9.
10, dickhead. Yeah.
Right.
No, all right.
You're a new category. The Jared is we'll just call it the Jared. Yeah. But no, 9's peacemaker. So people that really don't want to fight, they want, let's figure this out. 7s are, I forget the label on it, but they're like entrepreneurial, interested in new things. And so they're like, basically it hits on all the types of personality. So when you start like mixing these different concepts together, you start to see like, oh, here's how I can better communicate with my team. Here's how I can be more successful in implementing projects that are going to be difficult and that will change the firm. If you're coming in and saying, look, we want you to use ChatGPT to help do all these things, that some people will do it immediately. Some people won't do it at all. And people will do it begrudgingly. Like it's going to be all over the place. But if you know how they act up front, that's super helpful. And you'll be more successful because, the worst thing is, it's rough when you try to implement a new project and it doesn't work out. Those happen. But if it doesn't work out, you want to know why up front.
Yeah, I mean, work testing, personality testing, I think that's really underutilized in law firms.
Yeah.
So I just realized, like, we've had a few episodes come out now where we've talked about intake. And I did 2 prior episodes where we talked about intake. Not planned that way. That's just the way it came out. But we mostly talked about like web forms and intake form strategy. What about phone intake? Because I know that's something that you're heavily concerned with. And that's a huge deal for law firms. So what are your thoughts on like phone intake in the modern environment and how do you do that well?
Oh, that's fun. In the modern environment. Well, you still need humans for this. What if I...
All right.
No, but one of my clients said, he's like, hey, I'm testing out this AI thing for reception. And he gave me this number.
Yeah, everybody is.
Right.
Yes.
It's interesting. And so from an intake perspective, we think about it from the standpoint of, intake in our world is everything from, when a lead arises. So whether it's like a web form, phone call, et cetera, through hiring and, everything in between. And so and this goes back to the systems part. So if you have a solid system in place, the human part's a lot easier. And so, ideally, once you get, a caller, if we're talking about the phone part of this, once they get to, talk to an intake specialist, or we call them client advocates, if your marketing's done a good job, they're informed about the firm. They know what they're getting. They're going to ask some, core questions. And, ideally that, discussion is, it's a sales call. And it depends on what that outcome is. It may be that if it's in like the PI world, for example, we created, we've done this a couple different ways, but where like an intake person asks questions And once they get done with their questions of the potential client, it gives them a score. And if the score is a certain number or above, they're allowed to sign that person up automatically. If it's not, they have to hand it off to an attorney. And so things like that are kind of interesting, where if you have those systems done up front, your intake folks are going to be more successful. And so they still play a huge role, because if somebody's calling, let's say they didn't like do a self-schedule on your website. If they're calling and they need to talk to a human before hiring, there's some holes and they need some questions answered. They just need to feel better about the human on the other end of things, or to know that there are humans involved with it. And so if you have good sales folks, then they can, that's super important to getting either the sign up or the consultation scheduled at that point. But we our goal with intake in the client advocates is to keep their role as streamlined as possible, because when it becomes like unwieldy and you have 1,000 steps they've got to deal with, the phone call requires like 45 minutes of digging of information before you allow these people to schedule. Like, it depends on what your goal is with it, but we want it to be streamlined as much as possible.
So that's another planning thing. AI virtual receptionist, not ready for prime time as yet?
I mean, I hope so soon. Like, that's at least getting, well, I just upgraded to iOS 26, the new public beta that Apple released. And apparently it will screen your calls now for you. I haven't turned that on. I'm a little worried about it, but I want to test it out though, but it will screen your calls and let you know who's calling. And so I think at least the ones I've tested, I think were real interesting. Sometimes they were very successful and took you down the right path. Sometimes they didn't want to listen to you at all. I mean, it's not unlike ChatGPT, where sometimes you're like, do this, and it's like, nope. And they're like, no, I mean right. It. Do this. And you're like, no. Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like sometimes it was very like smooth, but then other times it was rough, and that's okay. That's expected.
Last segment I want to cover here in this part of the show is, you're living in Arizona. It's hot, but it's a dry heat, as people tell me. Lots of crazy shit going on in Arizona's like, we don't have ethics rules anymore, so fucking have at it. ABS is available there. Like, they're pretty much the vanguard right now in experimentation in law practice. So do you want to talk a little bit about what's happening and your thoughts on that?
I mean, so it's interesting. It's like, it was, I think 2021 when the fee sharing prohibition went away and ABS has started. So we're 4 years into it. I think, and having LPs, like, it's for those of you familiar with triple LTs in Washington, that program that didn't quite make it. This is Arizona's version of it, where based on your experience and education, you don't have to go to law school, and you're licensed as is it legal paraprofessional? I always get that wrong, but you get a bar number.
Something like that.
Yeah, you get a bar number, and you get licensed in certain areas. So you can do family law. There's some limits on it. Like, you can't do, I think they're changing some of these, but like, I think technically you can't do quadros or divorces involving businesses because of like complicating factors. And so, but I think they have an estate planning one. They have different categories. They have a criminal defense one. So they're focused. But what's cool about it is, like, firms are hiring them. And so you've got this, like, you've got paralegals that can go take this test and now become licensed and show up to court. And they like any scenario, you can imagine different outcomes, but I've like seen conversations where, like, LPs are just destroying existing lawyers in court. And because probably in part because they're underestimated. And
yeah, I'm not shocked by that. I also know plenty of paralegals who are better than lawyers at lawyering, frankly.
For sure. So you've got that. The ABSs, I think most, a lot of like the folks that you'd expect from like, the tech companies have set up their version of those, like LegalZooms, NextPoints, and others have them.
Right.
There's a big element of marketing, especially in the PI world, being able to infuse, ungodly amounts of money through ABSs to help generate leads for PI, which is really thing. And because the fee sharing rule is gone, it now changes the dynamic of like an Arizona firm. So for example, if you sitting in Boston, Jared, send a case to a firm in Arizona, they're allowed to give you, like, let's say they're like, oh, we'll give you 50% of the fee for it. They're allowed to. And that's real interesting. So a lot of times in discussions, it's been discovered you don't really need an ABS. You just can share fees. And that's, that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And that's not because with the ABS, you have to, pay, apply, get approved.
Application process. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Fee sharing is just gone.
It's funny. When I talk to lawyers, like one of the things that sucks about running a law firm is that there's all these rules. And wouldn't it be cool to run a law firm with fewer rules?
Right.
And this kind of opens that up for attorneys and non-attorneys, really. So it's like the Wild West, frankly. It's what I would want to be doing if I was still in practice.
Yeah, but I don't think it, I'm sure there's like really like, but I think it's still evolving because if you're outside of areas of practice where people are used to sharing fees, it's still uncomfortable.
It's still
like, things aren't moving as fast as you'd expect. And so like it still feels uncomfortable for a lawyer to receive, a thank you note and a $500 check for referring a case to them, like unprompted.
Right.
Like you send it.
No, that's a good point.
Because it's not a by agreement or like, because if you think about like from a PI perspective, traditional model, you're going to split the fee and you're co-counseling it. You've got a rule structure to fit within it. But now, with Arizona, you could get a case from somebody and just be like, you didn't ask, but here's some money. And that's uncomfortable to people still. So I think that part's going to take a minute.
The spectrum is like no fee sharing rules at all. And then, I was at a conference last week talking to a couple of lawyers who were like, this fee sharing thing seems really, I don't ever want to do it, like ever. And there's a lot in between those two worlds.
It's still hard for firms to grasp, like, with some PI firms that I work with, it is a constant, unless you're like, one of these like massive shops, like it's still a constant struggle in evaluation as to the best types of cases to bring in, because if you do a good job with SEO, digital marketing, whatever, let's go as broad as possible, digital marketing on that, you do a good job and you get good cases in, the fee is all yours. But they also know that the best cases they get are often from former clients or other attorneys, and you're giving up for other attorneys, you're going to give up probably half of that fee. And so but you wouldn't have had the case. And, so you've got these, these competing dynamics. So you really have to push on, the gas on everything to experiment with it, because it could go up and down. I was talking to a guy the other day who's, they've done better off of referrals from attorneys than digital. But then recently their marketing team cracked whatever local issues to compete. And now they're getting, and so so like, okay, we can do both and feel good about it, but it takes work, and sometimes it can take years for firms to figure out the best way to set up their marketing.
Not surprisingly, Good discussion here. We covered a lot of ground. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll come back with our last segment here. All right, welcome back, everybody. That's right. We're here in the Counter program once again. It's a podcast within a podcast. This is a conversational space where we can address usually unrelated topics that I want to explore at greater depth with my guests. Speaking of which, you can expect no rhyme and very little reason. But what you can expect is Chad Burton coming back. Chad, thanks for hanging with us. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Today, we're going to launch a new segment for this show called Formerly Known As. The object of the game is simple. I'm going to tell you a famous person's real name and give you some attributes or accomplishments relating to them. And you just need to tell me their alias by which they are more popularly known. You ready?
I feel good about this.
I feel like you'll be good at this.
I enjoy, this will be good. I feel good about it. All right, let's do it.
I feel like you could sweep the whole thing. All right, so what I'll do is I'll say the real name, and then I'll keep giving you like clues until you can tell me who it is. All right. Number one, and if you can guess it without any of the clues, you just let me know. You just fire away. This person's real name is Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanotta. Stephanie
Lady
Joanne.
Gaga.
Oh yes, you got it. But did you know that was her name ahead of time? Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. All right, you're 1 for 1. Karen Elaine Johnson. Karen Elaine Johnson. First of all, do you know who this is?
I don't. No.
Okay, here we go. Let's start. Clue number 1. She was the coach of the New York Knicks in the movie Eddie. Have you seen the movie Eddie? Roundly panned.
No, I've not seen Eddie. That clue did not help.
All right. Here's another clue that may or may not help you. See, we make these more difficult as we go on.
Yeah, that's
Number
good.
2. Before finding fame as an actress, she worked at various odd jobs, including as a bricklayer and as a bank teller. Any guesses based on that? Okay. Last clue. I think you're gonna be able to solve the puzzle here.
Okay.
Her stage name, Whoopi, reportedly came from a tendency to pass gas on stage, like a human whoopee cushion.
Oh, so the third clue is real easy. It's Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes. So I did not know that
Nice.
about her. All right, number 3. This one might be easy for you. It's another music one. I think I might have been able to get this one right off the rip, but here we go. Real name, Reginald Kenneth Dwight. Real name, Reginald Kenneth Dwight. Who is this?
Oh, this feels like one I've heard, but I don't know. I need clues.
Okay, clue number 1. This musician is an EGOT winner, and he sold over 300 million records.
John Legend?
Oh, all right. That's a good guess. Not quite. I'm going to keep the clues coming. No, number 2. He owns over 1,000 pairs of glasses, but does not have a smartphone.
Oh,
Owns over
Elton
1,000 pairs of glasses. Yes, Elton John. I got a few more for you. Next one. Thomas C. Mapother the Fourth. Thomas C. Mapother the Fourth. Any guesses?
I feel like you're pronouncing that last name wrong. And if you did it right, I'd probably get it, but I don't know the answer. So
it's on me. All right, here we go.
Yeah. This is not about me.
This is my fault. He initially wanted to become a Catholic priest, attending a Franciscan seminary for a year before pursuing acting.
What was the name again?
Thomas C. Mapother the Fourth.
Okay. All right. I don't know yet.
Okay. His iconic smile is partly due to a chipped front tooth from a childhood hockey accident which he chose not to fully correct. Let me do the last. I feel like you got it here. He has claimed that Scientology cured his dyslexia. Actor who claims
Tom
that
Cruise has a
Scientology
cracked tooth.
Apparently.
Does he?
Apparently. Yeah. Yeah. I learned this online today.
So he wanted to be but he's like, Scientology seems better. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right. As one does. So I did play a dirty little trick on that one. His middle name is actually Cruz. So I had to add the C because it would have been too easy for
smart.
you. His full
That was a
name
good
is
move.
Thomas Cruz Mapother the Fourth, which I did not know until today. Number 5, you're 3 for 4. This person's real name is Farouk Bulsara. Farouk Bulsara. Do you know who this is?
It's another one like the Elton John one.
Yeah, I feel like this could be guessable if the right name pops into your head.
Right. All right. I need a clue.
He designed his band's logo by incorporating the zodiac signs of each of the members. He designed his band's logo by incorporating the zodiac signs of each of the members.
I feel like this is one of those where I keep feeling like I've heard this, but it's all probably made up in my head.
No, I feel like you have.
I
All right,
came out real strong with Lady Gaga. Like that was
You
like
did.
hard. Like,
Yeah, you were like, fuck it, I don't need any clues.
right.
I'm
gonna
a
be
Lady
easy.
Gaga fan.
Right.
All right. I
A
got
Star is
another.
Born
Let
is
me-
a great movie. Have you seen
Right.
that? It's a great movie.
Yes. Star is Born is great. All right, I got a second clue for you. He worked as a roadie for David Bowie. By the way, David Bowie's real name is David Robert Jones. He changed his name too. Of course, there's
You
the
learned
Davy
lots
Jones
of
and the
information
Monkees.
in your research for this, didn't you?
I'm just Googling shit left and right. Before achieving his own success as a singer, he worked for David Bowie as a roadie. So, he's a musician, he's a singer, he's in England. I got one more that I think is going to put you over the top. So let me know if you want
Okay.
it.
I like your third
Okay.
clues. Those are usually pretty helpful.
This one I think is pretty helpful, but we'll see where it goes. Okay. Number 3, he had an overbite, which he refused to correct due to his belief that it contributed favorably to his singing voice. A lot of dental stuff going on here.
Right.
Overbite.
Just an overbite. I have no idea.
All right. Freddie Mercury, Queen,
Yeah.
lead singer. Okay. I got one more.
Okay.
We're in the acting category. This person's real name is Netta Lee Hirschlag.
Okay.
So another marketing choice was made. Netta Lee Hirschlag. Okay. Clue number 1. She published 2 papers in scientific journals during her high school years, one on an enzymatic method for hydrogen production, and another on the effect of a sugar phosphate amino acid mixture on the growth of a particular bacterium. I'm sure you've read both of these.
Probably. Yeah. Right under my kids at night or at the bed.
That'll definitely put you to sleep. All right, clue number 2. She once appeared in a music video for the song Carmel by the Israeli musician Ivry Lider, long before her major film roles. So, we know she's scientific, Israeli tie-ins, music video. Any thoughts? We're talking about an actress.
Got
And
nothing.
then I got one more clue for you. All right, last clue. In the original Star Wars trilogy, she was Darth Vader's girlfriend.
Oh, I started picturing actual Darth
Not
Vader.
C-3PO.
I'm like, he didn't have a girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm not
Natalie
I'm not a
Portman.
Star Wars guy. I don't know the dude's name.
No,
who's
it's
Darth
Anakin
Vader.
Skywalker, but
Okay.
it's
Anakin
Natalie
Skywalker.
Portman. But like I was
Yes,
just
correct.
actually what happened was I was picturing thinking
Darth
about like
Vader.
Darth Vader like holding hands like kissing somebody good. Like, that's not part of the show. Like, this is made up.
Yeah. I'm just not a Star Wars guy, so I couldn't remember the name of the guy who was Darth Vader's.
No, I think that was a good way to do it, because it
thank
really
you for
threw me
assisting.
a second. You have to think like next layer down with Anakin.
It was not intentional.
Well, that's fine.
All right,
It
sir.
worked out
4
well,
for
'cause
6. Thanks for coming on. So we'll do another show. We'll do like the Star Wars prequels, and you can school me on what to call people, and we'll be in good shape.
I can handle major characters. That's about all. Yeah, that's where we're gonna get to. So
You acquitted yourself well today, here, sir. Please return at some point in time.
for sure, just let me know when. I'll be back. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for coming on, man. My pleasure. Thanks to our guest, Chad Burton of Modern Law Practice. To learn more about modern law practice, visit modernlawpractice.com. That's modernlawpractice.com. Now, because I'll always be a 90s kid trying to see just one nipple through the scrambled Cinemax channel at 2 a.m., whose true passion is burning CDs for anyone who would listen, I'm now just doing the modern version of that, which is creating Spotify playlists for every podcast episode that I record, where the songs are tangentially related to an episode topic. This week's playlist, we're going to do Adam Sandler tracks. Honestly, Sandler's best work is probably his early comedy albums, and I'm going to expose that to you now. And it's sponsored by Titleist Golf Balls. I'm just kidding, by the way. Titleist didn't sponsor shit, but I wish they would. I'll fix my slice, I swear. Join us next time when I remind you of one of the more important logic games questions that you'll need on the LSAT. If peeing your pants is cool, then consider me Miles Davis.